Hello and welcome to the Be Ready Utah Help, Hydrate, and Hold On webinar by Be Ready Utah, the Preparedness Program within Utah Division of Emergency Management and Department of Public Safety. We're very glad that you've chosen to take the time to join us here tonight, and we look forward to sharing this time with you. At Be Ready Utah, we see the values and we help educate these values in preparedness. Preparedness is a very important thing in day-to-day life, and everybody, no matter what communities we live in, really needs to think about preparedness in your lifestyle. Think about the risks that are in your environment where you live, and together, as we all work toward being more and more prepared, we will have less impact from disasters when they do come around. Now, four pillars of preparedness that I want to mention are make a plan, build a kit, be informed, and get involved. Now, in Utah, you may have heard of these quite often, but I just want to sink those into your thoughts tonight as you go through and participate in this webinar with the Be Ready Utah team so that you can think of ways to make your preparedness plan even better. Now, just a reminder, the annual Great Utah Shakeout is going to take place April 18th this year, and registration details can be located at the Be Ready Utah, Be Ready sorry, BeReadyUtah.gov website, which is now BeReady.utah.gov. Please come to our website and register to participate in this shakeout if you've not already done so. This year, we're hoping to reach 1 million registered participants. So please get registered at beready.utah.gov. Now, to introduce our presenters for tonight, I would like you to notice on the screen here, we have our first presenter, Mr. Jeff Johnson, who is the Be Ready Utah, Be Ready Schools Specialist. He will be presenting You Are the Help Until Help Arrives. Second, we will have Brian Stinson, the Be Ready Family Specialist, and he will be presenting on hydration. Then we will have Marilyn Hoff, our Be Ready Community Specialist, or better known as the Earthquake Lady throughout Utah. She will be presenting on earthquakes. So just to let you guys know, my name is Anna Boynton, and I am the Be Ready Utah Section's manager, and I'm excited to be here with the team. Jeff, the mic is yours.
Thank you. I'm going to go to my share screen here and talk to you folks tonight about how you can be the person that helps when you come upon something that it has happened. And I think all of us have had a chance to happen upon an emergency and try to decide whether we can help, whether we should help, what we could do to help. We're going to give you a little bit of guidelines tonight about how to make that happen and maybe improve your response and your efficiency in saving someone else's lives. And as we go through this tonight, I want you to remember that. I want you to remember this is about saving lives. And you're probably going to be saving the life of a total stranger, but this could be used with your families and your friends. So what we're trying to do here is just teach you some basic skills to keep people who have potentially life-threatening injuries alive until professional help arrives. There's really 6 areas we're going to go into here, besides the fact that you can make a difference in people's lives. We're going to talk a little bit about how to call 911 and how to stay safe, stop the bleeding, how to position the injured, and to provide comfort to them. And at the end, we're going to talk about how you can prepare and get ready to help people. You do make a difference. Sometimes you're the first person there, sometimes you're the only person there. Again, you might be the only person there. You might be there long before medical help arrives. You know, it could be a car crash and you could be the only person there, as is shown in this picture. Somebody on the phone with 911 and trying to get the help here to help an injured person. This could be a home injury. This could be a bicycle accident involving a car or not involving a car. This sends a lot of people to the hospital every year. Motorcycle accident could be another one that you could show up at. One of the interesting things here, you could be in a very large mass casualty incident, similar to the Las Vegas shooting where over 520 people were injured. If you notice this picture, do you see any first responders, any professional medical or law enforcement or fire there? This is what happens in most mass casualty incidents. It's bystanders who provide the care. Even when there are, and as in the Boston Marathon bombing, you can see 8 people here who are wearing vests in this picture. But who's down helping the injured? None of the people who are wearing the vests are actually involved in the first critical care of those injured people. And this always happens even when you have your first responders on scene. Often it's you and me and us that are providing that care, and that can continue for some time. There are really 3 types of incidents you can get involved in. There's common ones like vehicle crashes and injuries at home. There's rare ones that could be man-made or local weather incidents, like a tornado or an active shooter. And there's very rare ones that are large-scale disasters, like what we saw 2 days ago in Taiwan with that 7.5 earthquake. It could also be an act of terrorism or bombing or even a large-scale transportation incident that could happen. So there are different kinds of incidents you could get involved in. And the larger they are, the longer it's going to be until professional help arrives. You can make a difference. And that's if you act quickly and purposefully, you can save lives. And I'm going to say there's not many things that are more important in life than saving someone's life. We're going to talk to you a little bit about calling 911, about staying safe and moving the injured away from danger. Apply pressure to a bleeding wound or a tourniquet to help the injured to breathe. And really, it's about positioning themselves to where they're comfortable or placing them on their side if they're unconscious. And then the final thing we're going to talk about today is providing a little bit of comfort. Professional help is on an average of 6 to 9 minutes away. And I can tell you that's true as a police officer for 25 years. I usually got on scene somewhere about 4 to 10 minutes ahead of the ambulance. And even then, it took us several minutes to get there. So if you're farther away from a city, you're up a canyon, you're in the mountains, it could even be longer than that. So realize that life-threatening injuries can kill within minutes. And that's been long before the medical responders arrive. So simple actions by you can really greatly have an impact on survival. And there's some relatively easy steps that you can take, and we're going to talk about this. If you notice here on this screen, there is on the right side on the bottom a YouTube video. We don't have time to go through the entire videos that are attached to this tonight, but if you go onto FEMA's website and type in "You Are the Help," you can find this entire presentation and you can find all these videos and watch them. This is usually how it works. The first care is you, and if you get involved, like most of you have, then you can make a difference in this. And along with the non-medical first responders around you, you can make a difference in the survivability of the folks you're helping. The next thing, the pre-hospital medical care arrives, who get them to the emergency room and finally to the trauma surgeons. But really, the upswing there is the help you provide right at the very start of this. So there's reasons why people act and why they don't act. Sometimes people tend not to help, and sometimes people jump right in and help. The reasons they usually tend to help is if it's sudden and unexpected, if there's multiple people injured, if they've experienced the event firsthand, they watched it happen. One of the big factors in this is believing that you can help and recognizing that there's an immediate threat to life that appears to be getting worse. And a lot of people empathize with the injured. One of the reasons people don't help is they expect that medical first responders are going to get there quickly and take action. That's very unlikely and not usually the case. Sometimes they just don't feel like they know what to do. And the whole incident could have made people afraid. I think there's a 4th bullet point that could be added to this side of the screen, and that's a new dynamic we're seeing in the world today, and that's that people pull their cameras out and decide to video the incident rather than help. And that doesn't save lives. When multiple people witness something together, most people assume that someone else will jump in and help. And they don't jump in and help right away. They have to be sometime triggered to get in there. And so if you're the first person to step forward, I can guarantee you that you often trigger a response from others. So be the first one to act. Be the first one to get in there and help. And again, there's a video here if you want to go online. This picture is ironically out of Cache Valley, even though this is from a national presentation. This was a motorcycle accident that happened up there near Utah State, and a bunch of people jumped in and lifted the car off of the injured motorcycle rider. And it's just one of those great things about Utah. This is going to stress you. I don't want to say that you aren't going to be impacted by this, because you're going to experience physical and psychological effects. A lot of the things which are on the screen right there. We're not going to go through all of them. Just understand that this is probably going to affect you during it and maybe even after. I can say in 25 years of responding to all kinds of emergencies, especially medical ones, I usually got jacked doing this, and my adrenaline was flowing, and I had all kinds of things going on. So expect that. That shouldn't slow you down. That shouldn't stop you, and that shouldn't deter you. The other thing you want to do here is train your brain. And this is one of the best things you can do. What if? When you drive by something and it looks like, oh, look what happened over there. And then you go, oh, that's not what it was. Do the what if with your brain. Say, well, what if it was that? What if that happened? I was driving by a 7-Eleven one night in my police car, and there was this woman and this man tussling at the back of the car, and he was trying to push her in the open door. And I didn't know what it was, but I spun my car around and pulled in, and it was just two young kids having a whole lot of fun, and there was nothing wrong. And they were both laughing, and they were kind of embarrassed that a police car pulled up. But as I drove away, I thought, what if that was really an attempted kidnapping, a domestic violence situation, an assault on a female? And I'll tell you right now, a couple of years later, I was driving by something similar to that, and it turned out to be a domestic violence situation. And I had pre-programmed my brain and knew the actions and steps I'd take just by doing the what if from one that wasn't. So train your brain. The key points of this are: you are the first link in the chain of survival. If somebody's going to survive, it's not going to be because the ambulance has arrived. It's going to be because you stepped in and helped. I understand this is going to stress you, and I can't emphasize enough about how practice will improve how effectively and quickly you act. 911, let's talk about that really quickly. If you call 911, the person on the other end is a highly trained, skilled person, and they're going to help you assess what's going on. They're going to help you take appropriate action, and they're also going to help you be as safe as possible. Don't assume somebody else is called. Now, there's a caveat to this. If you're in the middle of such like an active shooter situation, most of the active shooter situations generate 1,000 phone calls in the first 5 minutes, and they can overwhelm dispatch. I'm going to tell you, if you're in a situation like that, only call if you have pertinent information. You can see the shooter. You can see where the injured are. You can see how the shooter's dressed, or what kind of weapon he's carrying, or what direction he's headed. Those are the kinds of information that the first responders who are rocking and rolling to get there need to know, so they can effectively intervene and put a stop to this and get help to the injured. Don't just call and say, I heard gunshots, while everybody else is calling and saying that, or I heard a bomb go off. If you have information that's pertinent, call in a mass casualty incident. But again, don't assume somebody else has. If you don't think anybody else is calling, definitely call. Use your common sense. When you call a 911, take a deep breath and let them guide you. You need to follow their lead and let them coach you through the situation. That will help them get the right resources to the right place. If they know that there are 30 people down and not just 3 people down and injured, it will help them get the right number of and the right equipment there. So let them guide you, answer the questions, and they'll get you through this. Some of the things they're going to ask you is specific locations, floor, room number, landmarks, so they can find you quickly. The type and severity of life-threatening situations. It's always bad when an ambulance person has to go up three flights of stairs, get to the injured, and realize they needed some equipment that's in their ambulance and have to run back down. So specific information can really help. And obviously ongoing dangers or ongoing threats are really a serious situation for everybody, including the responders. So understand that. Key points here: call 911 as soon as possible. but don't delay bleeding or controlling bleeding control or moving somebody away from imminent danger. Provide specific information, and then follow the operator's instruction and guidance. Don't rush into one of these situations. It could be dangerous to you as well. It never hurts to pause for a few minutes and ask, what do you see? What do you hear? What do you smell? Are there things that could injure you? And make sure that you see those before you run in. On a situation like this, the smoke coming out of this car could be a bunch of things, could be a number of things, and it could be dangerous to you. So stop and assess that before you get down and start helping people, because you don't want to become part of the problem. You're there to be part of the solution. This is a good series to follow. Do you feel safe here? If yes, stay and start providing care. If no, can you move the injured person with you? And if it's yes, take the injured person and get them out of harm's way. If no, then you need to move to a safe location so you don't become part of the injured. Just way to do that. Get help from others around you. Do this smartly. Use things around you, such as blankets, chairs, carts, and realize this. This is a very key and important point. Moving an injured person who's in grave danger will not cause more harm than leaving them there to die. So even if you are questioning if you should move them or not, if leaving them is going to cause them to die, move them. Key points of this: use your senses, have situational awareness. When possible, move the injured away and get them out of the danger zone. Use your best judgment and remember that you are the help until help arrives. Stopping the bleeding. First responders call this stopping the clock. Every minute with uncontrolled bleeding decreases the chance of survival. Bleeding is a really high cause of death in trauma patients. 35% of pre-hospital die due to blood loss. And again, there's a video here if you want to go look at it. You have 5 liters of blood. And if your body loses approximately half of that blood volume, you're going to go into irreversible shock. And regardless of the quality of medical care you eventually receive, you're probably going to die. And you can lose half your blood in just minutes. So sometimes it's more important to stop the bleeding and control people's blood loss before you call 911 and have somebody else do that. Find the source of the bleeding. That's sometimes not easy. I had a friend who had a pair of brown chocolate pants on, and he hit a tree when we were up motorcycling. And I knew he was bleeding, but I couldn't figure out where it was coming from. And I had to cut the pants to get to where he had a compound fracture below his left knee. Put something between your hands and the blood. Gloves, cloth, plastic bag. And this is the most important part. Apply firm and steady pressure directly on the source of the bleeding. Push hard to stop the slow the bleeding, even if it's painful to the injured. And then you need to keep that pressure on until help arrives. If you can't stop the bleeding with pressure, you might want to consider a tourniquet. We're not going to go through how to apply a tourniquet here today, but realize you can apply a tourniquet to any appendix, an arm or a leg. You can't apply it to the neck. Remember that. And the bleeding is, if it won't stop any other way, you can control bleeding with a tourniquet. I always carry a tourniquet with me. I have one in my pants pocket right now. And they are just priceless to have with you if you encounter this kind of an injury. Key points: firm and steady pressure at the source. If you cannot control that bleeding, then try a tourniquet and then continue applying pressure, or don't remove the tourniquet until the first responders arrive. Position the injured. If a person is conscious, let them position themselves. If they're struggling, then you can assist them, but never force somebody to lie down or sit up. They will find a comfortable position for them. Often people want to get into the tripod position. When sitting, you put your hands on your legs, or when standing, you put your hands on your knees and about shoulder width apart, and keep your legs about there. And then they're going to lean forward with a flat back, either sitting or standing, and this allows the lungs to fully expand. And it's a comfortable position for people who are injured. If they're breathing and they're unconscious, then move the injured person into the recovery position. I'm going to show you that here in a second. And if they're not breathing, then CPR, you could open the airway and begin CPR. But on an unconscious person, you probably want to move them, if they're breathing, into this position. This is called the recovery position. Notice the legs are both slightly bent. One leg is out farther than the other to provide stability. The forearm is resting on the bicep of the bottom arm. If you can position the mouth, point it downward, that way they won't aspirate anything in. And again, the head's resting on the hand and the bottom arm is reaching outward. This is a very comfortable position, will help people to maintain breathing if they're unconscious. You know, if you suspect a spinal injury, some injury to the head or neck, when you roll them onto their side, try to keep their head aligned with their shoulders and then continue supporting the head if possible. And don't move that individual more than necessary. If they're conscious and breathing, allow them to do it themselves. And don't ever force someone to lay down or sit up if they're not comfortable doing so. If they're unconscious, move them into that recovery position. And remember to minimize the movement of the head and neck. What can you say? You know, this provides as much comfort as anything else you do. Ask basic questions. Share your name. Hi, I'm Jeff. What's your name? That middle one there is really important, and I can guarantee you will always get an answer. What do you need? Ask them how you can help. They'll tell you usually. And also ask what happened. Don't speculate about what happened, but you can tell them if you know, and then tell them what's being done to assist them, about how help is coming and what's going to happen next. It's all these things are very helpful to somebody who's been traumatized and injured. Keep them warm. This is a great way to slow down shock, because shock kills 40% of the pre-hospital patients. Hold a hand. You'll be amazed at what that little action will do. Or put your hand on the back of their shoulder. Keep eye contact, be patient and understanding. And if you have to move on to help somebody else, let them know what you're doing. I'm going to help your friend or your family, and I'll be right back, and explain that to them. Don't just get up and hop away. Again, keeping people warm improves blood clotting, reduces stress on the body, and provides a level of comfort. So those cheap Mylar 99-cent blankets that you can buy almost any big box store, really a good thing to have. Remember, keep them warm, talk to them, ask permission, and be respectful of their needs. And finally, before you go, get prepared to help. Make a plan. Have a plan at work. Have a plan at your home. Have a plan in your car. Keep supplies at home working in your car. Sign up for emergency alerts and warnings. I live in Weber County. They use Code Red. I have the app on my phone, and you get very good information from that. And finally, folks, here, this is the most important. Practice this. Don't expect to just do it smoothly the first time. So practice is a good thing. Have an emergency aid kit that's at your home and at your work and in your vehicles that has trauma dressing, sections, rolled gauze, a good tourniquet with instructions. And believe me, you can buy cheap tourniquets, so buy a good one. Trauma shears to remove clothing, and they'll even cut boots off if you need to. Gloves, emergency blankets, and a bag to put all of it in. So these are great places. You can get help and get training and be better prepared. I'd highly recommend you getting the Stop the Bleed training. It's a couple-hour class, and it's really effective in teaching you how to stop bleeding and to help people that are in those kind of situations, including on how to put on a tourniquet and the different kinds. Just want to thank you for being here today. Thank you for attending this. Underneath that top thank you, there is the website, if you want to take a picture of it or write it down, to where you can get this entire You Are the Help Until Help Arrives training. And what we're asking today is that you be ready, that you be prepared, that you have a plan and supplies, that you be informed, and that you get some training and know how to help. What do you bring to the fight that day? How well are you? How well prepared are you? With that, I'm going to go to James and see if there's any questions.
No questions yet, but if anybody wants to ask any questions, there's a Q&A panel down in the toolbar at the bottom or maybe even the side of your screen, and you're welcome to ask questions there.
And even after we end this presentation and move on to our next one, you're welcome to ask questions, because at the very end tonight, we'll answer any questions that have been asked. So thank you, and I'm going to turn the time over to Brian.
Well, I've got one question for you, Jeff, since you still have 60 seconds before my presentation. One of the things that is on one of the slides is practice. What is a good way, or what do we need to practice for first aid? We don't practice calling 911. What can we practice?
You can practice on putting people in the recovery position. You can practice how to put an emergency blanket on it and keep them warm. You can learn how to put on a bandage to an injury. Almost anything you could think of that might happen in an emergency situation, you can practice that. That's an easy thing to practice. So I would say go through the things we talked about today and think about how practicing that. And if you get with your local law enforcement agency, they will actually do a practice 911 call with a group and show you how to do that. Most law enforcement agencies will contact dispatch and say, we want to do a practice call. And if you do that, you can practice talking to a dispatcher. They will do that for you.
Cool. All right. Thanks, Jeff. I'm now going to share my screen. Okay. One of the questions, or one of the areas of questions that we get the most here at Be Ready Utah, is about water. How do I store it? How do I treat it? What are sources of water that I can get? What do I do for water in an emergency? And I guess one of the things you want to start with, why is water so important? Well, we know that you actually are 60 to 70% water. You need it literally for everything that your body does. It regulates your temperature. You need it for digestion. You need it for respiration, for circulation, for removing waste from your body, and even for lubricating your joints. If you start sounding like the Tin Man when you're walking around, you're probably dehydrated. So the question remains, how much water do I actually need to be hydrated? Well, kind of a crazy thing with this, the average American uses between 116 and 220 gallons of water each day. And of course, most of that's literally going down the drain, between showers, baths, flushing, washing your clothes, doing dishes, the car, all of that kind of stuff. That we go through a lot of water. But how much do we really need to survive? If you're thirsty, you're already dehydrated. But how do you know if you're getting enough water? Believe it or not, the best indicator is your urine. I know we don't like to talk about pee very much, but if your pee is clear and you're going often, you're properly hydrated. Chances are most people, yourself and most people are not properly hydrated. Now, we have one of our Be Ready Buzz videos that explains a little bit more about how much water you need.
Welcome to the Be Ready Buzz. You can only last 3 to 4 days without clean drinking water. It's one of the most important parts of your emergency preparations. We recommend you store a minimum of 1 gallon of drinking water per person per day for a minimum of 2 weeks. That's 14 gallons per person. So, if you have a family of 4, that's a total of 56 gallons. One 55-gallon barrel and a 5-gallon container will cover you, plus an additional 4 gallons. Now remember, this is a minimum. Have you ever tried to live off of only 1 gallon of water a day? Try it. You may want to store more. Now, prepare and share what you've learned about water storage with someone you care about. Thanks for joining us on the Be Ready Buzz.
Okay, so that was one of our Be Ready Buzz videos. You can find more of our Be Ready Buzz videos and informative preparedness videos on our YouTube channel. Just search for Be Ready Utah. You'll find them. You can share them with your family and your friends. Okay, enough of the shameless promotion. Yep, I love to show our videos. And there's a very handsome person in that video as well. Okay, back to water. There's a few things that negatively affect your water storage, things like sunlight, temperature extremes, and contaminations. Let's talk about the first one real quick. Sunlight, what does it do? It breaks down the integrity of the water containers, causes them to become brittle and leak. Did you know that even those standard 55-gallon blue barrels that you often think of, that you associate with water storage, if you set that out in direct sunlight for about 5 years, they do become brittle and they fall apart. So sunlight's bad. Also, it causes algae to grow. Now, algae is not really toxic. It doesn't pose a health risk, but I know that it's not very fun to chew your water before you've got to drink it. So limit the sunlight or even any light as much as possible in your water storage areas. The other thing I was talking about, temperature extremes, not just extreme cold, not just extreme hot, but even worse than that is back and forth between the two. Those cycles, they loosen seals and they can even break some of your storage containers. So limit those extremes in temperatures. And then contamination, whether it's the water that's contaminated, whether it's the container that was dirty that you put the water in, or whatever it is that you did to put water into a container, you contaminate it that way. So there's lots of different ways that our water can get contaminated. What are the things that it can be contaminated with? Well, there's a lot of potential things in non-municipal water. First one that we often think about when we're out hiking or camping is just the organisms. What are some of the organisms? Protozoa, even though they're really small, they're relatively large microscopic organisms. They're kind of difficult to kill with most forms of chemical purification because they're relatively large. But because of their relatively large size, they're easy to filter out. Bacteria is something else. It's about 1/10 the size of protozoa. Most forms of purification will kill them, and most of your quality commercial filters will filter them out as well. So again, protozoa, hard to kill with purification, easy to filter. Bacteria, pretty easy to kill with purification and to filter. The last one, viruses. These are generally about 1/10 of the size of bacteria. They're easily killed by purification, but most of your commercially available filters can't filter out viruses. Unfortunately, in North America, we don't have a problem with viruses in our water. Other things that might be in your water, chemicals, especially in flood water. Okay, so heavy metals is also something that can be in your water, and I'm not talking about no. Things like lead, mercury. Some of it's naturally occurring and some of it's from industrial runoff. And then finally, you also could have sediments in there, whether it's leaves, sticks, sand, mud, sometimes birds, dogs, cats, small children, whatever you might be in the water. These are things that are pretty easy to filter out. Let's talk about water storage containers. There's a lot of different things that people use to store water. Some of it's better than others. I used to be against commercially bottled water, this pre-bottled stuff, because it has a 2 to 3 year shelf life, so it needs to be rotated. But we had a boil water notice where I lived, and I realized they're really, really convenient to use. So you can use them. They're not the best use of your storage space. They're fine to use as long as you realize they are a little bit more expensive than just your tap water. It's not always as clean as your tap water because the FDA holds bottled water to a lower standard than the EPA does for municipal tap water. But because of their convenience, they're a great thing as long as you are rotating through them. Okay, other pre-used containers, we're talking about like the big blue barrels and other things like that. Make sure that you thoroughly wash them. Even if it's brand new from the store, it could have been sitting in a warehouse for a while. It could have dust and other things in it. Sometimes you can get containers that have been pre-used with other things, maybe residual food deposits. Again, make sure it's completely cleaned out. There could be sugars or other things in there that would promote bacterial growth. You don't want to have residual tastes or odors. One guy told me one time that he bought a big 55-gallon barrel from a friend that had pickles in it before. He says his water always tastes like pickles. There's nothing he can do to get the taste out of it. But he's okay with pickles, and he got a really cheap barrel. Do not use any containers that held chemicals before. Bad idea. You can never get them clean enough to make them safe for drinking water.
Welcome to the Be Ready Buzz. Sometimes people don't store water for an emergency because they think it's expensive or hard to do. Want to know an inexpensive and easy way to store water? Use empty 2 and 3 liter soda pop bottles. They're food grade, they last a really long time, they're cheap, and they're really easy to come by. I mean, how many parties do you go to that these things are just thrown away? Just rinse it real good with hot water, fill it up, and screw the lid on tight. Additionally, because of their small size, they can be stored almost anywhere, like under sinks, in closets, and under beds. Do not use milk jugs. They're designed to break down and fall apart after a few years. I know a lot of people that have lost their water supply and had a big mess to clean up because they use these. Now, prepare and share what you've learned about water storage with someone you care about. Thanks for joining us on the Be Ready Buzz.
All right, again, that's our Be Ready Buzz videos. So plastic containers, 2 liters bottles are great. Again, like it showed in the video. Their plastic is really lightweight when it's empty. It's durable. One thing to remember though, it is semi-permeable, which it'll hold the water in, but over time, gases can seep through the plastic. The lightweight and durable. I would recommend having solid colors to block out light from getting into your water. Use the high density polyethylene plastic number 2. Now there is other plastics like number 1, that's what water bottles are used for. Those are food grade, but the high density polyethylene number 2 is what's recommended for long-term water storage. Yeah, I said they are semi-permeable. Don't store them near chemicals. And of course, don't use the milk jugs. When you're filling them up, some things that you want to think about: use a drinking water hose, not just your garden hose. That's not a good idea. You can go to RV stores or a lot of different places to get municipal water hoses for drinking water. Store that in a cool, dark, the hose in a cool, dark, and dry place, not out in the garage, not out in the backyard. You do not have to retreat municipal tap water. Like I said before, the EPA holds it to a higher standard than bottled water. It does not need to be retreated. It's ready to store. Fill it all the way to the top. You don't want any air gaps. Now, I said before, you don't need to retreat municipal water, but if you have non-municipal water like well water or from another source, I do recommend treating it before you store it. Now, some things to think about when you are picking places to store. Of course, you want to keep it cool and dark. We talked about how bad light and temperature fluctuations were. Vary container sizes. Now, you can see there that big one, there's the 250-gallon, there's the 55-gallon barrel. Excuse me, those are your best uses of space. but you're not going to pick that up and move it to your restroom or your kitchen wherever you're going to need water. So in addition to those really large ones that are your best use of space, have the smaller ones, store water in those as well, but you can haul those up to wherever you or need to use that water and then bring it back, dispense from the big one as you need to use it. Do not store it directly on the concrete. Part of the reason you don't want to do that, if you store it directly on the concrete, you're going to have condensation between the cool water and the concrete. If there's condensation, you're going to have microbial growth. And if there's microbial growth, then there's going to be toxins that they produce. And over time, remember I said plastic is semi-permeable. Those toxins can pass through the wall of the plastic container. Keep it up off the ground, not even like just on a piece of plywood, but you want air to be able to circulate freely underneath it to keep it dry. What about storage locations? There's one thing you want to remember about with anything emergency preparedness. There's ideal and there's what you can do. Ideal, like we talked about, is cool, dark, and dry, but that's not always the option that everybody has. If the best place that you can store it is maybe in the garage where it's not always cool, okay, that's better than nothing. You just may need to rotate it more often than if you would have it like maybe in a basement or something like that. But you also want to make sure you're storing in multiple locations. Even if you have an ideal place, don't store all of your water there. Store it in other places as well. So if one of your areas is damaged for some reason, you still have other sources of stored water. But what if you run out of your stored water? Oh, there it went again. If we run out of the stored water, of course, eventually we're going to run out of your stored water. You can never have so much water, you'll never run out.
Welcome to the Be Ready Buzz. There are some emergency situations where you need to shut off the incoming water to your home, like an earthquake or a flood. Yeah. In those kinds of emergencies, the outside water lines could be broken or the outside water could be contaminated. You'll need to shut off the incoming water to your home as soon as possible. Take time now to locate the water shutoff so you know how and where to do it when you need to. Did you know an important source of clean drinking water are the water pipes within your own home? First, shut off the incoming water. Then, to get the water out of the pipes, open up the highest valve in your home to let air in the system. Then, dispense from the lowest valve in your home. Now, prepare and share what you learned about your home water pipes with someone you care about. Thanks for joining us on the Be Ready Buzz.
All right, again, those are videos that you can share with your family and friends, just little quick thoughts on emergency preparedness. So we talked about house water pipes. You can do the same thing with your water heater. Turn off the incoming water, turn off the gas or power supply, whatever it is that's heating up the water. Let the water cool down first. Then you can dispense it from your water heater. What about the tank of your toilet? Well, we don't recommend that. Even, of course, not out of the bowl. But even the water in the back of the tank, a lot of times it has chemicals and things in it. Use that for sanitation, but not for drinking. Canned fruits and vegetables. Maybe if you're making a soup or making bread, use the water from canned fruits and vegetables for that and save your other water for drinking. What about pools, hot tubs, and water beds? Well, the problem with that is your commercially available means of treating water is insufficient for making those safe for drinking. So even though some people might think, well, I've got a swimming pool, I've got enough water than I could ever need for an emergency. No, that doesn't really work. You can't remove the chemicals with the consumer grade water treatments that are available to you. So other sources of water, of course, lakes, rivers, and streams. Always choose your cleanest source of water, whatever you're looking for. Find some places now as alternate outside sources of water that are close to where you live, where you might be during an emergency. Remember to drink upstream from the herd, but remember that there might still be another herd further upstream. So whatever water you get from outside, always treat it. Again, the same thing with snow and ice. Well, okay, with snow and ice, make sure that you melt it before you drink it. Otherwise, especially in an emergency situation, it'll quickly lower your body temperature. But same thing with rain, make sure you always treat it. Other outside sources of water, fountains, golf courses, water traps, fish ponds, drainage ditches, etc. All these things, no, they are insufficient. The things that are available to us are insufficient to making these safe for drinking water. So do not use those as drinking water sources. It really comes down to, even if it looks clean, make sure that you treat it. Now, we don't have time now to go into how to treat it, but it basically comes down to find your cleanest source of water, and then you want to pre-filter it. Pre-filtering it is just running it through a cloth, something to get the big chunks out, the sediment, the debris, the sticks, the twigs, the mud, to preserve the life of your commercially manufactured filtration unit. The next thing is you actually do the actual commercial filter on it. And then after that filtration, then you can do some kind of either heat purification. Usually we talk about boiling, or you can do a chemical purification like sodium hypochlorite bleach, or you can use, I used iodine tablets when I was in Boy Scouts. Not the favorite thing, it makes it taste funny. But for more information on water treatment, you can go to our website, beready.utah.gov, and actually more information on water storage as well. So I guess that leaves it open to questions. What questions do we have about water storage and I guess little quick things on treatment? And I apologize for my coughing. All right, I did see one question about rotation. The USU extension, Utah State University extension, found that if you do have ideal conditions for your water, so clean water to start with, your container is clean, it's cool, dark, and dry wherever you are storing it, you do not need to rotate it at all. Again, ideal conditions, you don't need to rotate it, but I still would check it once a year. Check it for leaks, check it for algae or other microbial growth. How do you check it? Well, one thing I do is I get a clear glass and I fill it up with water. I give it an eyeball check. Okay, yep, it looks all clean to me. Give it a smell test. Yep, doesn't smell bad. Smells like water. Give it a taste. Blah, 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 blah. Yep, tastes like water, and then I drink the whole thing. If all of that tastes like normal water, then I just top it off again, and I'm good for another year. Questions about best filters to buy. I see that one that just came up. That's another great question. The best filter for you to buy is one that you can afford. So that's a really easy thing for me to say, but there's all sorts of different kinds of filters. There's backpacking filters, there's personal filters, there's straw filters, there's countertop filters. Whatever situation, multiple filters would work in different situations. You wouldn't want to be putting those countertop ones in your disaster supply kit, and the straw one wouldn't work for filtering water for your whole family. Go to your outdoor recreation store or online get recommendations on which ones are the best, but the best one is the best one that you can afford that has the highest rating.
Ryan,
Yes, sir.
Ingrid made a comment on the chat saying you could use a tarp to catch rainwater, commenting
Yeah.
on capturing rainwater.
Capturing rainwater, it's a great thing. It's, I guess years ago, it wasn't very legal here in Utah, but it's 100% legal now. I recommend doing that. It's a great thing. Do know that sometimes if you're catching water that's coming off your roof, some roofing materials have stuff in it that you would not want to be drinking the water that comes off of it. So you can check your roofing material and make sure that there's nothing toxic in that. With that, I think it's time to turn it over to Marilyn.
Thank you, Brian. And drinks are on me. Have a swig of water. Pollen, allergies in the air. So
Thanks,
on me.
Marilyn.
Hello to you all. Thank you for joining us this evening with more preparedness. And I am excited to talk to you about earthquake preparedness. I know when you hear the word preparedness, it's the last thing you don't want to think about right now. But you know what? You actually prepare every day and all day the moment you wake up. Check your messages, your emails, prepare breakfast, brush your teeth, prepare for school and work, make grocery lists, fill the car with gas. And so now it's time to pick up the kids and prepare for dinner, help with homework, clean up the dishes for the next morning to start over. Preparedness is a very busy life. You can do it. So when you hear, are you ready? You can be ready. So be ready. From our local and national news, it was reported several days ago that Taiwan had a 7.5 magnitude earthquake, which is a major, disastrous, and deadly quake. Remember March 18th, 2020? Earthquake in Magna, Utah, with a 5.7 magnitude earthquake? Yes, it was an eye-opener that morning. You heard lots of stories, what people experienced during the shaking. Reverse the magnitude from 5.7 to 7.5. Yes, you may consider preparing more than you think you are. I am excited to tell you and show you tips, ideas, suggestions, and what you can do before, during, and after an earthquake. Simple. Before an earthquake, discuss your household emergency plan, and everyone is on the same page. For start, every family member of the household should have their own emergency preparedness backpacks, so they can include their special needs. Let this be a fun project. Do a scavenger hunt throughout the home and gather items to add to your emergency backpack. You can browse through the Be Ready Utah website at beready.utah.gov. Check out the disaster supply kit list. Brian, if you could, would you display the disaster supply kit list so everyone can see what this looks like? And you can get it at beready.utah.gov.
Okay, so here's the Be Ready Utah webpage, beready.utah.gov. You just scroll down here where it says library. And our most popular downloads are here, but if you want to go see all of them, click on library. We've got the disaster supply kit right there. Is that what you want to see, Marilyn?
Yes, and it has a front and back side, and go through this list. You have most of these items at home already. You don't need to go out and spend money. Do the scavenger hunt, look for things, let the kids get involved, and gather stocks, clothing, and then after you gathered all your items, lay them out on a table, and let the kids explain to mom why they have a pair of socks to go into their emergency kit. So it could be a fun project. Things you have at home already. Also, there's a video on beready.utah.gov, and it's called Preparedness with a Bow. And this is for ideal preparedness gifts for Christmas, birthdays, and so forth. And so this video shows you different things, like you can get fire extinguishers as a gift, things like that. So check out that video. It's fun to watch. Okay, and then don't forget your pet. You know, you already gathered things for your emergency backpack, but also think of your house pets. And they are part of the family. Oh, I meant the dog and the cat. So anyway, have a kit made up for your house cat. Because if you need to evacuate because of damages to your home, gas leak, chemical spill in the area, then you are ready to grab and go. So have your pet ready to go with you. Do not leave them home. That's important. Okay, and then I'm going with my note. Oh, I don't want to miss anything. Okay, during an earthquake shaking, immediately drop, cover, and hold. Which way do I go? This way. Drop, cover, and hold. And so you can see you squat down and head towards the table, go underneath, and hold on to the legs, because as the ground is shaking, the table will dance away from you. So put your one hand over your head and the other one holding onto the table. The next row is people with canes. And if they're able to squat down and do the same method, but make sure you can get back up. You may have to yell for help. The next one, folks with walkers. The walkers nowadays have the seat and brakes. So if the ground starts shaking, sit down and then lean forward and cover your head with your hands, your arms, a purse, books, and protect your head. And wheelchair, same thing. They have brakes, put the brakes on, lean forward and cover your head. So these are simple ways to protect yourself when the ground starts shaking. When you're in public buildings, there's the ceiling tile above and light fixtures. So don't be the curious cat and walk around during the shaking and looking up because things could fall and hit you in the face. So drop, cover, hold. Every school in the state of Utah practice this method. After an earthquake, the earthquake stops, do a buddy system. You, your spouse, a teenager, do a hazard hunt. look for damages and go through your home, each room, up, main, basement, even the garage. Check for damages and see if your home is still safe to stay home and you don't need to evacuate. So it's called a buddy system, 2 people, because if one doesn't smell gas, the others may. So it's always good to team up and go through your home to make sure it is safe to stay. At this point, I would like to show you why you should practice the drop, cover, and hold method, and why securing furnishing to the walls to keep from injuries and property damages. I'm not here to scare or frighten you about earthquakes, but I would like you to visualize your home, your kitchen, living room, and during earthquake shaking, visualize what could happen in your home. So, Brian, let's shake, rattle, and roll. Well, now you can see why you need to drop, cover, hold. Now you can see all the damage through. I can't believe the printer stayed on the desk, the middle room at the bottom. You can see the freestanding flat screen TV from the fireplace fell. That usually is the first item to go. So make sure you strap your flat screen TVs or mount it on the wall. You can see the kitchen. The kitchen would get the worst damages. So in the kitchen, you can safe-proof it by taking heavy glass bowls from the top shelf and store them low. Simple things to keep from injuries and damages. So you don't need this to happen. There's so many things what you can do to make your home safe. I am not going to let a few seconds destroy what I worked hard for. So next, Jeff's over here cracking up. Next, I am going to show you things what you can do throughout your home to keep from a lot of damages and injuries by doing these things. So back here on the board, Jeff's going to zoom in and you will see, first thing, you will see all kinds of things here. So I don't want to confuse you. I already told you about taking those heavy glass bowls from the top shelf and store them low in the kitchen. And secure furniture to the wall with different shapes. Oh, I'm backwards here. With different shape, L-shaped brackets to fit your furnishing. So secure furniture. There's also straps, furniture straps. And I have right here, Quake Hold is the brand name that you'll see on a lot of products. Quake Hold, and it came from California. This is furniture safety strap. You don't have to put holes in the furniture, and then the heavy Velcro sticks on the top of the furniture, and then these go into the stud in the wall. So read the directions. You can purchase the kits at your favorite emergency stores, your hardware stores. They're everywhere. So it's up to you to keep from injuries, secure those heavy pieces of furniture. Also, the flat screen safety strap. Freestanding flat screen TVs should be strapped. And now you may hear me mention store names, but I'm not promoting. I just shop everywhere. I want you to know where the best prices are. So I purchased this Quake Hold flat screen strap at Walmart. It was the reasonable price. So save your flat screen. I can't afford to go out and replace my microwave, my flat screen TV. So do something to keep things in place. Okay, simple. All right, and then I also use Quake Hold Gel, Quake Hold Museum One. And these are also at your hardware stores and your emergency stores. Gel. I have pottery up above in my kitchen. So I put a dab underneath the pottery, press it where you want it to be, twist it to get the air out of it. And then dust around these items. And then if you want to later move these items, twist it to loosen it, lift it, clean it with alcohol, and Quake Hold Gel and Museum Wax do not hurt any type of furniture wood. And it says so right on here. I didn't make it up. So you bet I use this a lot. When we had our 2020 earthquake, inside my glass china cabinet, the heavy base did move, and I didn't want that to break. So I put a dab. Things inside shelves move. So I put a dab of this underneath, and it's not going to go anywhere. Great product. Okay. So let me turn my notes. Oh, and I'm sorry. Jeff has all, and then there's also on the board, you can see rubber grip liner. Rubber grip liner, and right here comes in squares, round. You can put your lamps, plants, knickknacks, pottery, fish bowls on top of this. And rubber grip does not guarantee things won't fall. Rubber grip guarantees things won't slide and fall. So rubber grip is good to keep things in place. And you can buy the roll and cut in different shapes as needed. So, and then also, you know what? Number one homework in every household in the state of Utah should have their water heater secured with heavy metal straps. So this is number one homework for earthquake preparedness. Make sure your water heater is secured. During the earthquake shaking, I don't know, just had 5 minutes notice. So 10 minutes, oh good, you gave me 10 minutes. So you may have heard the hissing sound with the earthquake demo. And that was the water heater. You could see it laying down. So that's why you want to secure your water heater to prevent gas leak and fire. And with those two together, not a happy ending. No, So make sure your water heater is secured. Okay, I gotta rush through here. So all the boards will keep things in place. It's only up to you to do these things. You can use bungee cord, rope, wood strips to keep things from falling off shelves, your cleaning goods and things like that. And then pictures, there's picture hooks with a clamp to lock your pictures on the wall. Go browse through the hardware store and see all the things that you can get to safe-proof your home. Go in every room before earthquake. You don't want to do this after. Go through each room, make a list, see what you can do to safe-proof that room. Again, upstairs, middle floor, basement, and the garage. And by doing these things throughout your home, you are saving lives, really, because you don't need these things to fall and hurt you. Okay, and then also check your smoke detector and your carbon monoxide alarms. Keep them updated. Check the batteries and make sure they're still good. And you should do that, I say, twice a year. It makes me feel good about it. And also, one of the gifts you can give, preparedness with a bow, put a bow on a fire extinguisher and give. You should have fire extinguishers in your kitchen, washroom, the garage, vehicle. So fire extinguishers are a must, and know how to operate it. It gives you all the directions right here. Read it. It's simple, and I had fun putting a fire out with that. Okay, and then let me see. I want to make sure I have everything here. Okay. Again, you can go on our website, beready.utah.gov, and find things, what you can do for you, your family, and your home. And again, don't forget your pet. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's see. There are much more important information about preparedness. I'm not reading my notes right, so excuse me. And anyway, on the beready.utah.gov. So if you are interested in having a presentation on preparedness or for a booth at a fair, go on beready.utah.gov and look for the event request and then fill out the sheet. And once you hit submit, your information goes to our spreadsheet, and then one of the Be Ready Utah, somebody will give you a call to confirm your event. And there's no charge, no fee for these programs, just like Brian did the water and Jeff did all the.
You are the help.
You are the help, yes. So anyway, sorry. But you'll learn these things. If you want your friends, your relatives, even church, your business, lunch and learn, then have us come out and train your brain to be more prepared. Your home is your safe haven. Your home is where your family and your are safe, and your home is where you live. So do these things and make it safe. You don't need tragic in your household. Now, Brian, if you would, could you display the home hazard sheet? There
All
he
right,
is.
so here's our website.
Okay.
Go to the library. When you find the library, you can go to
Home hazard. Mm-hmm.
Home Hazard Hunt. It brings up this brochure.
Yep. And will tell you all the things I mentioned. And you see the smoke detector, the fire extinguisher, and just read this and do these things for your home. And while you're there, Brian, can you
Mhm.
show the putting down roots in earthquake country?
Yeah, you can go to, again, we're back in the library. Putting down roots.
Yes. This is the purple cover, the first edition. This is our second edition, and it has more updated information and more pages to this. And read this book. Let your teenagers read this. And it has everything you should know about earthquakes here in our beautiful state. So train your brain, get more knowledge on preparedness. And then also, it's in Spanish too. So same thing, and here it is. So go online and read this information. Okay, let me see where I'm at. Okay, so what? I have 2 minutes? He's giving me 2 minutes. So, well, that is what I wanted to share with you, and I hope you at least picked up a few suggestions along the way. And and share your tips and your suggestions, your ideas. The 30 years of preparedness, I still learn new things from you. So share your ideas. I believe if you have questions, James may receive the questions on preparedness, earthquake preparedness, and I will get them in hopefully in a bit. So again, go to beready.utah.gov and you may find what you are looking for. Thank you, everyone. And now I would like to turn the time over to Anna to conclude this evening with preparedness. Anna?
Thank you, Marilyn. Great job, you guys. I want to give a special thanks to James Ray. He is our Be Ready Utah, Be Ready business specialist. And James has been behind the scenes answering most of the questions that has been put into the Q&A tonight. That is a big job. It is a very busy job. And so, James, I give you a high five and I say thank you to you for that. You've been a great contributor. As you all can see, preparedness really is a lifestyle. So be sure to make a plan, build a kit, be informed, and get involved. Just another reminder of the annual Great Utah Shakeout that is going to be on April 18th, and registration details can be located at beready.utah.gov. In the next few days, a recording of this webinar tonight will be posted on Be Ready Utah's YouTube channel. So you'll be able to locate it there and share it again, or share it with friends and family, or watch it again. So just know it can be accessed there. And lastly, as registered participants of this webinar, we're going to send an email to you in the next couple of days, which contains a survey. We're interested to hear your input regarding this webinar. On that note, this is the Be Ready Utah team wishing you a good night, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, everybody. If you have further questions, you can send them to us on Be Ready Utah social media on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. We'll answer them there. See y'all later.